All right, y'all. What's good? What is good? It's been a long time since any live stream has been, put on this channel. But we back, as y'all can tell by the title. We back for a huge mega weekend in boxing. I'm your boy Big Kool. This is Colossal Sports TV. I got some guests with me that's gonna break this fight down to the T and give you their prediction. But before we do all that, we're gonna do these introductions. Like I said, I am Big Kool. Colossal Sports TV. We're gonna start with my homie Mouse. Introduce yourself and let the people know about you.
It's your boy Mouse, Colossal Boxing TV. You already know the gang is back, full in effect. DMV in the building. That's all I gotta say.
Oh, that's some nice merch.
Hey, well, that was a pivot to you, Mr. DMV.
Who is going on? DMV Fanatic, aka John G from Colossal Boxing Talk. But gotta rep the DMV, and I'm out in Vegas. Just came from the weigh-in, and we can talk about that in a little bit. But appreciate everybody. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Last but not least,
my name is John Herndon from I used to do boxing writing for like Fight Hype, Boxing Confidential. Currently right now, I write for the Landry Hat. I don't have merch like you guys. That's very nice. Do appreciate being on tonight, and let's just start, John.
All right, man. So we already know. It's so good. We already know what's on the line come tomorrow night. All 4 titles. We know 3 are preoccupied by Errol the True Spence, who's 28-0, 22 knockouts. Hails from Texas. He'll be going up against Terence Crawford, 3-division world champion, former 140-pound undisputed champion, has the WBO welterweight title. He hails from Omaha, Nebraska. We're going to get into the weigh-in recap. Yesterday's final press conference was tense. We seen both trainers for both men, Derrick James and Brian McIntyre, lose their cool, trade some unpleasantries, and we seen Terence Crawford, that dog, come out of him and let whoever he was talking to know, look, I ain't the one to be talking crazy to. You acting like a female, and just leave it up to your boy Errol. Let us do what we supposed to do, what we getting paid to do, and you just be a fan. So I'm gonna start with John Herndon. What was your thoughts on the recap? Because it was less tense. It was more, they dapped up. They wasn't really trash talking. They were respectful. So what was your thoughts on it? Did you expect anything different, or did this fall on the line of what you thought would happen?
I mean, you mean as far as with the weigh-in today?
Yeah, weigh-in.
I mean, that's pretty much what I thought it would be. Neither guys have really trash talked towards each other. I mean, they competitive. I think they want to get on with the fight. I mean, yesterday with Bomac and Derrick, I mean, that's just 2 trainers. They competitive. I just think everybody is kind of tired of looking at each other, and they just want to fight. So for me, even if you talking trash a lot, it doesn't matter, because sooner or later you got to fight. So it pretty much went the same way that I thought it would be. I thought it would be low key. Nobody would do anything. They both been very respectful towards each other. They're both competitive. They're gonna lay everything on the line tomorrow night.
I agree. All right, Mouse. What was your take from the yesterday's press conference as well as the weigh-in? Did you expect more or less animosity between the 2 fighters?
No, I kind of agree with John. I kind of felt like Errol and Bud have always been respectful with each other. I've never seen them interact, and even before they got the fight done, you could always tell every time they saw each other at arenas or whatever, it was never on a disrespectful mode. So I didn't expect any more animosity. I didn't think the crowd, though, was going to be that active. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was a bit excessive. But in terms of Bud and Errol, I expected what I got. Class and respect from both men.
All right. AJG, what was your thoughts, man? I don't know. I think you got into town today. So first, what was your thoughts on the press conference, and then the weigh-in? Did you think it was going to be more animosity, more tension, more trash talk, or did it fall in line with what you thought, leading up? How this fight been, built up with respect?
It fell in line with what I thought, especially being here in person, watching Elton talking trash with another Bud fan. But it was all respect, though. Like, I don't think it's a whole bunch of animosity more than it is just a rivalry of people like, yo, you know my guy gonna whoop your guy ass, right? Like that's
Mhm.
pretty much how it was going. But I mean, there was a lot of things that happened behind the scenes, but it didn't seem like it had anything to do with the fight. But but it went in line about what I thought it would.
All right. So, JG, since you did live, how was the atmosphere? Was it more pro Spence, pro Crawford? It seemed to be split for me watching it on TV. Both guys definitely seem to have a lot of support. They traveled to Vegas.
Yeah, Omaha came out and they supporting your boy Crawford, but I would say it's about 70-30 Spence to Crawford. Spence definitely brought him out from Dallas, and I've been to Vegas about maybe 7 times, and this is the most black people I've ever seen in Vegas. So, I mean, for them saying that the black dollar don't really sell in the sport, like, I mean, they out here, bro. They out
So
here,
they had
bro.
that black
It was
force. They
crazy.
had so they had
You
that
said,
black Air Force energy out there, huh?
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Everywhere, bro.
All right, man. So since we didn't recap the weigh-in, let's go ahead and start this breakdown. I'm gonna let JG go because I know he on the move. So JG, you can also throw Elton in there if you want to give some words. Um, we're gonna just strictly do the breakdown right now. We'll come back and circle for each guy's prediction. What do you pros and cons to both guys? Go ahead and how you see this playing without giving your prediction to the end. JG. All right. All right. So Mouse, let's start with you, man. Break it down, man. Pros for Errol Spence, cons for Errol Spence, pros for Terence Crawford, cons for Terence Crawford.
I'll tell you what, I've seen an interview with Sean Porter, and I think Sean Porter, he described it best. I think the pros of Bud is that Bud makes fights his fights. He doesn't try to play into what the other fighter is bringing to the fight. And on that same subject, going back to what Sean Porter said, that's what Errol Spence likes to do. He likes to beat you in your own game. Sometimes, especially when you're fighting a guy like Bud at that level, that may not always be the best way to go. So that's where I feel like Errol's con is at, Bud's pro is at. But I do still feel fundamentals and all that. Spence got it, man. I mean, yeah, Bud is who Bud is, and he has God-given ability. He has his skill and stuff like that. But when you're talking fundamentally sound and boxing fundamentals, I do believe Spence has the edge over Bud. Now, Bud might be faster. Spence might be bigger. Did they get a rehydration clause for this fight? Yeah, I know. No, right? So we expect Spence to come up in there tomorrow as a fucking probably 154 and above. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not going to be a welterweight tomorrow.
You think he'll be 150 in the 150s?
Yeah,
I think he might be 160.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I hope he's not in his 150s.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Me neither, but I mean, Spence is naturally walking around in that. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, I know. I know he's. No, I'm sorry. I'm cutting you off. This is your.
No, you're good. No, you're good. You're good,
no, I mean, I know he's a big welterweight. It's just that I know in the Danny Garcia fight, he came in rehydrated like his 150s because he didn't look real strong and he looked like he overtrained. So I know it's been a grind for him to make 147. So I mean, if he comes in 150ish at the rehydration, I'll be concerned. I mean, that would give me.
I mean, Danny also a different type of fighter than Bud. Danny, he like.
I ain't worried. I ain't talking about whether I'm just using that. I'm just pinpointing that fight to me that I didn't think he came in strong.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I just thought he overtrained. Not the opposition, just him training per se. That's one of the most recent fights of his that I've just seen. I just didn't think he was as strong as I thought he should be. But I mean, I'm sorry for interrupting you. This is your.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. You're good.
But John, do you also But John, do you also think that their performance against Danny Garcia had something to do with it being his first fight back in 2 years? You know what I'm saying?
No,
So he
no,
kind of
I'm not talking about.
no, I'm just talking about the strength wise. Like he didn't know what to expect from himself. So you know what I'm saying? Like not
Maybe if he was somebody that was in his late 20s or early 20s, yeah, I would give you that. But for a guy who's a naturally big welterweight, if he comes in at 150ish, high rehydrated, that's an indication to me that he's overtrained. That he shouldn't blow up. He shouldn't be that limited with blowout. That's his rehydration. There's some things that are going on wrong. Because there's been a pattern with him is because of how big he's been, and because he also used to a lot of the extracurricular activities. He's known for eating a lot. He said this himself. So if you're coming in that type of way, that means you've blown up before you got into the gym. So that means your training camp is also either going to be super long or your training camp is going to be used and losing weight. And you shouldn't do that. I think Mouse is a former fighter, you guys told me. So
yeah.
And
that's my thing. That's my thing.
You're supposed to come in camp maybe 10, 15 pounds over. You don't supposed to be like 30 pounds over. If you like that big, you're trying to use camp to lose weight. And so, you know, there's some things with that. So if he comes in rehydrated at 150ish, I'll be concerned. That's why you know, I want to see what he looks like rehydrated.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, and I agree with everything you said, but going with what you said, the track record of Errol is that, you know what I mean? That's what he's shown us in the last couple of fights is him going above, you know what I mean? So I hope that even if he gets to 150, I hope that is not a hinder on him. I am worried about the fact that he did not have a fight like on Bud in between taking the Bud and, you know what I mean, and his fight.
Because I think it's a grind. He's admit this. Yeah. I mean, if you go look at his last count, it's been a grind for him to make 147.
Yeah, exactly.
He's made it. He's a pro, but it's a grind. And you can see that. And sometimes the extra 8 pounds I'm not trying to compare the fighters per se, but if you look at how Trinidad was later in his career, he was making a drain to go to 147. He was getting dropped. A lot of people question that. Oh, you know, no chin. It's like, no, man, that's a lack of weight. And so when you're having that, when he went up to 154, he was much more stronger. And then when he was at 160, he was much more stronger. So it's just that's a concern for me. And I think the reason he didn't want to do another one because he doesn't want to go through that grind one more time. And so he's already indicated win, lose, he's moving up to 154. Yeah, because that's been very taxing for him.
I just don't want to open that doorway because I feel like that's going to be the excuse that people are going to use if he does lose. Well, you know, he can't be 147.
Nah, it's not but to me, it's like this. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But
yeah.
You know, it's just one of those realities that happens. Sometimes a fighter wait, and then even if it happens, that's on him. He could have made the fight. Sure. He could have made the fight 4 years ago. When Crawford was just entering the welterweight division, I think in 2018, 2019, you know, you're the one that waited to this point. So whatever happens, you know, I don't use it as an excuse, but I'm just bringing it up that that's a reality.
No, for sure. I'm not saying
to that point.
Go ahead, Big O.
Not to that point. I don't think it would have made sense to make the fight happen when they was just, you know what I'm saying, you know, Crawford arriving into the weight division because we all pinpointed Crawford as that guy that could give Spence his first loss. So I don't think it made sense. And I don't think I can't put the blame on either fighter.
Huh?
No.
I say you pinpointed him.
I'm not making no blame. What I'm saying is this. I understand the business aspect of it. I get all of that. I've always also had a pattern too. It's like if you're an older fighter, you got a young fighter coming in, he wants to smoke, say he's 10-0. Fight him then. Don't give him a chance to get better. It's also Crawford was moving up from 140 to 147. So since then, for 4 years, he's had a chance to fill out, get bigger. He's in the weight now. So from a standpoint of getting him where he's less strong, you get him then. And then even then, Spence will come into the fights at like 165 that night. So if you know you're a career welterweight, you know you're having struggles, don't do that. Get that dude now. So if he loses tomorrow, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, it's the weight. I'm just bringing it. This is a reality. It has been a grind.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Can we bring up why also things were held up too? Because it wasn't just the fact that he waited, but the accident happened, and then the
I was gonna bring those variables up. Those are other things. But what I'm talking about, when he could have fought him much earlier, that was before the accident. And
I definitely agree with that, because it's like, he wanted to get all of the belts and he wanted to do it his way. So I'm with you on that aspect, because I feel the exact same way. I felt like it could have happened and you guys could have unified instead of it having to be for Undisputed. But, business ties and all of that type of stuff. But it's not an excuse,
No excuse. I'm just saying it's like, if you moved up to 140, this is just me personally, because everybody's different. And I know it's taxing me to make whatever the weight. And I know you're just coming up. I'm fighting you now. Especially if it's a thing that's going to hinder me. But a lot of fighters don't want to say that. They'll say it later and be like, oh, it was the weight drain. I'm like, well, dude, you're the one that waited around this long. So I'm not using it as an excuse if he loses tomorrow. I'm just saying it's a reality that it's been.
Kind of how Regis is getting Devin. You know what I'm saying? That was finalized for October 28th. Like, Regis said, you know what? I'm going to get him coming off of 140.
Exactly. So he's going to get him right now. He's not going to wait. Not going to let him get a chance to grow into it. Now, I don't know if it's going to work for him. But, a similar way. I would have got his ass once he got up and grabbed that belt. Because I think he grabbed the WBO belt 6 months
from Jeff Horn.
Right. That was his first fight. So I'm going to get his ass right now. He can get the other 2 belts because they're already on the side of his street. But he, like you said, he did his own personal decision. I have no problems with that. That's just the way he did it. But I'm just mentioning that, to me, it's been a grind for him. And that's
sure.
that DMV mentioned.
Yeah, I agree. On top of that, I understand it's a natural grind being a boxer that takes care of yourself. It's probably less of it because you're not putting yourself in situations as like certain fighters, Spence. But like you said, he is even more of a grind because he had a car accident, nearly killed himself, had the detached retina surgery. So it's even more like, all right, I don't want to train as much as I got, so I need a big fight to get up for, to put my body through a 10 to 12 week training camp. So like I said, at the end of the day, like you said, John, I mean, he made his bed, so he gonna lie in it tomorrow.
Exactly.
Either comfortably or he gonna be in there. Somebody gonna tuck him in. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I think Errol is not the type of guy that make excuses. Which I like that about him. But like you said, I mean, we all make decisions in life.
Exactly.
We all got to deal with,
Right, but I wouldn't be able to break the fight down without mentioning that. That's it's a grind.
Yeah,
and
not to mention too, Spence, and this is kind of to touch on what John said. Spence kind of admitted even after or before the retina surgery, he was eating and drinking. He said that in an interview. He said that on the
pivot.
It's been known that he was a drinker. So that's another thing. You're not really living a Spartan lifestyle.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff.
Well, I think that's a con. That's a con as well. Since we're talking about cons,
absolutely.
When you as a fighter, and I think that a lot, you see some of these younger fighters. Well, I mean, Spence ain't so young anymore, but when they're coming in and they know that they're that good, and they're technically sound and their boxing skills are above everybody else, you get a lot of these fighters who slack off. They think they can eat whatever they want to come into camp, lose it, and they're good. And that's a con because eventually it catches up to you. So
and so far, unfortunately, even with the accident, even with the drinking and eating,
he's still doing it.
I don't know if he's.
I don't think he's doing it this time. I think
he's doing the drinking. I don't think he's doing that, but because when you just said, Miles, with him being older, so your metabolism slows down. So I do think that his body has been telling him, we need to move up. So I look at somebody like Bernard Hopkins, and DMV was asking me this one time. He said, why was he able to jump from 160 to 175? Because when he first started, he used to fight at 168. And his first fight was at light heavyweight. The difference between Hopkins, and I'll use Floyd as another example, their lifestyle is boxing. They're not guys who just happen to box. So they train year round. They stay in shape. That's a Spartan type lifestyle. And so Spence has not always had that type of lifestyle. And you never know, it could catch up with you. No, I'm not gonna say that would be the reason he loses tomorrow. If he loses, he just lost against a better man.
No,
Those are
yeah, I
things
don't
that you have to factor in, and you can't just brush aside. You know.
for
All right,
sure.
so let me shift gears real quick. Let me get JG because I know he on the move. All right, JG, me and you didn't talk about this fight off the record. We ain't giving a prediction yet, but now that you see the guys weighed in, now we 1 day or less than 24 hours away. What is something that you feel people are overlooking that could shift the tide in either fighter's way that we may not be talking about that can catapult them to a victory tomorrow night? Some that we might just kind of overlook or they haven't done, because of styles make fights.
Well, I've heard this, and I don't know how true it is. Maybe John Herndon can dig some things up about this. But I heard originally for the morning weigh-in, I heard Crawford came in overweight, and he had to reweigh to get back down. So from hearing that and actually looking at him, I'm thinking he's looking to be a little bit more heavier than normal to deal with what I'm saying, the Spence onslaught and the body attack. So I think that's one thing to look for because he looked much more ripped than he's ever looked. Personally, I looked at Terence Crawford today and said, damn, I ain't never seen him look like that. And then Errol Spence came up, and I said the exact same thing about him. So I think it's really a testament that both of these guys are taking this fight they're taking it as serious as they ever have, and they shook hands. So I think that they're going to give us a real good show tomorrow night.
All right, let me pose this question to all y'all. And Mouse, you can start off. Because me and John Hunter, I don't know if we touched on it, but we texting back and forth. Does Errol Spence have the foot movement and foot speed to keep up with Crawford if he elects to box? And if so, do you think he'll be able to do that? You know what I'm saying? Do you think he'll be able to cut the ring off and be disciplined, a disciplined hunter instead of just coming up like he did? He mauled Ugas. Let's be real. He mauled Ugas. You know what I'm saying? He was kind of calculated with Porter and Kell Brook, because I think he respected him more, you know what I'm saying, for different reasons. But do you think that he's gonna come balls to the wall and try to treat Crawford like he's Ugas, or he's gonna try to apply intelligent pressure? And if so, can he even do it with his footwork? You know what I'm saying? And foot speed.
So I don't think his foot speed is on, enough for Bud, but I do think his footing, just his foot movement and being able to get angles, that's where I give him the advantage on Bud. I mean, Spence is calculated. I mean, this is a true boxer. We're not talking about some guy that's just coming up in there just beating up on. I mean, yeah, he beats up on people, but he beats up on people boxing them out. I mean, he's picking people apart. You know what I mean? We're not. This guy is calculating where he's putting his punches. It's not like a Golovkin who is just hitting you strong to beat you down. Like, this is a guy who's calculated, who knows how to work the ring. So, but I mean, I do believe Bud is faster.
Faster feet or faster hands?
Yeah, faster. I do believe he has a faster feet than Spence. You know what I mean? But I think here's the thing with Ugas, right? After Porter, a lot of people felt that fight with Porter was pretty close.
I actually thought Ugas won, but that's just me.
Porter or Ugas?
No, I thought Ugas won the fight against Porter.
No, I mean, like, when Spence fought Porter, I think a lot of people had that fight close.
Okay.
Right? And then I felt like when he fought Ugas after that, I felt like Spence was trying to prove a point because he felt like, people doubted me because of the Porter fight. I don't think he's going to go in there and try to maul Bud like he did Ugas, because I feel like the first few rounds, he has to respect Bud. You can't just walk in there thinking, like, I'm just going to walk this man down. The only way I could see Spence mauling him like he did Ugas is if he hurts him early. If he hurts him early, then I feel like, and he sees it. Because as a fighter, you can tell when somebody's hurt. You can tell when somebody can't take your punches. You know what I mean? So if I feel like he hurts, like, it's almost like with Tank and Ryan. As soon as Tank saw Ryan get hurt, all the respect went out the window.
Yeah, when he dropped him in the second round, it was like, yeah, this is easy work. I just gotta
it was
keep closing
exactly.
the gap, the distance, and then the body shot came. All right, John. Oh no, go ahead, finish your thought, Mouth. My bad.
No, and remember, we had the same questions with Tank and Ryan. People thought Ryan was faster. People thought Tank couldn't keep up with it, and Tank just beautifully boxed and waited.
Yeah, he set a lot of traps for Ryan. Though.
Yeah,
actually,
you know what I mean.
Actually, I do think Ryan is faster than him, but I don't think he processes. I don't think he processes fast. His craft.
Yeah, I agree with
Davis
that.
is very good, very layered. He sets his defenses up. He gives you traps. And Ryan had well, you know what? We ain't even talking about that. But gotta shift to another thing. We're not talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
now do you think how do you see it, John? Do you see a big gap in foot speed and like the fundamental foot placement between both guys, or you think that maybe that's kind of like an overstated thing that's talked about? If it's,
I think it's a little overstated on it in the sense is Bub is not. I think his defensive reflexes have declined the last few years, like something Mouse has said, which I'm glad he said this. A lot of people saying they're in their physical peak. Neither one of them are. When you're in your 30s, you're not in your athletic prime no more. You're a little past it. They're still great fighters, though, but they're not in their athletic prime. And Bud has, even with his foot speed and the things that he can do, his mentality has been different. He's a killer. So he's trying to hurt you. Because if you look at it, does Mean Machine have great foot speed? Nope.
And he was tagging his ass.
Right. He tagged him because he wants to get back. But the key thing is this: it's not necessarily can he keep up with him. And I don't think Spence I think Spence was more of a killer against Ugas. The thing I've looked at with Crawford a lot of people say he allows the data and the information to process. So I don't necessarily think you would want that with a guy like Errol, because the thing with him is as the fight goes on, about 5th, 6th round, that's when he starts to roll. Mm-hmm. So if we have if you go back, and a lot of pro Crawford fans always try to like brush to the side, but this is just the reality. He's been outboxed a lot. He's just had the ability to change it because he can thread the needle in exchanges. So, but what happens if you get behind a guy that's much more dangerous than the guys that you fought before? So if you have to rely on trying to hurt him, which I believe he can, and I believe he actually will hurt Spence somewhere along in the fight. I think he's going to catch him. But if you can't finish him and you're behind, that could become a problem. All he has to do is, like Mouse said, I think he needs to just stay with his fundamentals, because basic technique and fundamentals can trump athleticism. If you have really
just like time and beat speed, you know.
Right.
What I'm saying?
So I always think back. I look at Eric Morales, switch hitter, more dynamic than Marco Antonio Barrera. I look at Shane Mosley, much more dynamic, switch hitter than Vonner Forrest. All of them with their technique and basics over Trump, the more dynamic guy. Bud has been caught. He has been stunned himself. So that's something that's a variable. The major thing that I'm going to look at for this fight is whether or not Errol decides to trade with him. Because every time people have traded with him, Crawford has an uncanny ability to thread the needle. And he can catch guys at crucial spots. I don't think he's a monster puncher. He's not a monster puncher. The thing is, I think he's a stern puncher, but he hits you in critical areas. That's the major difference. If you catch a dude clean on the chin, I don't care if you had 9 knockouts in your career. If you catch somebody clean, you can knock them out. I don't care if you're a big puncher or small puncher. If you hit dudes in crit, he does it all the time. He hits some critical areas. He also, with his right, at times when he checks it, he brings it from different angles. I also know this. We've always heard this. Not the punch you see, it's the punch you don't see.
That's right.
And that's the shit. That's what hurt Khan. That's what hurt Brooke. That's what hurt Norme.
Here's the thing, though. So let's just say if that is, and I don't know his mindset, but I'm just saying, if that's something he's thinking of relying on, what happens if you don't hurt this guy? Now you're all the processes that you did in the past. Now you're down for going into that, and then you're playing into a strength of a fighter who actually gets stronger. Now it doesn't mean that that's gonna happen, but those are variables that I'm looking at. I'm trying to see who can catch better, because you go back and look at it. 6, 7 people are overlooking. Bud gets hit. He don't get hit like a Gotti get hit. But he is
he get hit. Yeah, he get hit. Yeah.
right. And the thing is, another thing with him is he loves. See, the thing is, even with all of his skills, one thing's trump that he's mean. He always want payback. So the one time he gets stunned, he wants to do payback. So if you stay calm within the storm and allow him to come to you, then you can do different things. Because you know when you stun him, he wants to come back. And so that is going to be the thing Derrick James keeps talking about is fundamentals. Moss said this, fundamentals. They keep talking about that. And so to me, it's like, I believe going into this fight, Spence may be the boxer as opposed to trying to maul. But I don't really think he mauls people. He just boxes people. He's just heavy-handed. He stays with that stiff jab. We saw what Kell Brooks' jab did to Crawford. So it's a lot of variables with that. Bud is not the will of the wisp dude that he used to be. He's lost some of that. You see the decline with it. They both have decline. So to me, it's more about, I'm more concerned, I want to see who can catch the best. Because sooner or later, someone has got it. They both have been stunned. They've never fought a caliber of the opposition they're going to fight Saturday to see what happens. Crawford is considered one of the best finishers, which he is. And we've seen the opposite with Spencer. Is like he breaks people's orbital bones. He breaks ribs. So what happens if Crawford's orbital bone is broke by the fourth round? Because he did that against Ugas much earlier. You just start seeing the effect late. And so he's known, he bludgeons you to death. This is like a group of dudes just grab and just beat down on you. Whereas Crawford's type of skill is he's going to catch you in the exchange. He is real uncanny. So it's like, can Spence prevent himself from going into those exchanges? And if he does, is he going to be defensive right? Because he does, like we talked, there's a tendency when he jabs, he leans over. Also, that left hook kind of goes low. So it's just making sure that you defensively sound.
All right, let me get. That's a great point. Let me get DMV in here. DMV.
What's going on, man? I'm walking through the MGM right now, and I think that both guys are bringing up excellent points about the fundamentals and stuff like that. Another thing we have to bring into account too, where both guys, their strengths lie where the other guy's weakness is, right? So fundamentals aren't always on Crawford's side, and Errol Spence being, consistent with what he does is something that kind of can expose Terence Crawford. But at the same time, and I don't know if you guys, remember the final episode of the last All Access or something like that, or when they bring the camera in the ring after the Ugas fight, but Errol Spence has a problem with focusing throughout a whole fight or throughout, even outside the ring. Focus is always something that they bring up, and focus has been a word that he has brought up himself. So in those moments where he can lose focus is where, John was talking about where Crawford can catch him in between where he's threading the needle and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting fight. The fight can go so many different ways, man. And it could be a fight of moments. And I think that Sean Porter said it, he said it a while ago. It's going to be a fight of moments, and whoever gets the most moments is whoever's going to win it, or whoever can take advantage of that one moment when they have the guy on the rope is who's probably going to be victorious if it comes down to that.
And I say one thing though, Spence kind of has go back to the Porter fight. That fight was close. Like if that knockdown doesn't happen, it might be a draw. It might be a 7-5 win for Porter. But my point in bringing the fight up is Spence has very underrated timing because and countering ability because he countered Porter with that left hook and it was just enough to make him touch the glove touch the canvas. So I feel like if this fight is close, I feel like it's just something about Spence as the fight goes late, especially if he has the momentum going. Now, we've never seen him in a fight where he's not in contention, where he's just getting blown out, where it's just like he down, 9-0 or like 7-2. You know what I'm saying? It's always fight that's competitive. And he always, in that case, he doesn't know how to, fight from behind. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if this is a close fight like I expect it to be, going into the championship rounds, I feel like I can see him catching Crawford, not stopping him, but catching him and dropping him like he did Porter or hurting him like he did Kell Brook. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just something about his mentality, like he said, he's a dog. You know what I'm saying?
Why don't you think he can stop him?
I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I don't think he can't. He can stop him. I'm just saying the shot that he catches him with, it won't stop him. I think he can hurt him, but what else will happen after that just remains to be seen. I'm just talking about in
Oh,
terms
okay.
of the late portion of the fight. He always kind of lands a shot that either drops you or hurts you, and it kind of deflates his opponent. Because you seen when he dropped Porter. Porter was immediately deflated. He was like, "Damn it," because he knew it was a close fight. He knew the fight was up for the grabs.
Oh no!
And,
hey, Jarrell, I'm gonna disagree with you on that. Porter got on his head after that. He got on Spence's head. Right? Are you talking about Crawford?
No, I'm talking about Spence Porter.
No, yeah, go rewatch that because he went and jumped on Spence's head. As a matter of fact, he told him to come on right after he got dropped.
But I'm more so, yeah, he did that, but more so it was more so thinking about, look, the judges are, we already know. I'm not trying to say nobody's in the pocket of nobody, but I'm saying we all know Spence is a popular fighter. It was a close fight. People still had Spence winning it by, a few rounds, even before the knockdown. They had him up a few rounds. So I'm thinking of Porter like, damn, I shouldn't have got dropped because people watching this fight, the judges probably got me down, even though it was a close fight. Even though he did get back up and go to work, but we know Spence has a phenomenal chin. You know what I'm saying? Shit, the concrete could tell you that. But I just feel like it's something about Spence in those championship rounds. He gets stronger, and he just has very good timing, and things seem to go his way. And if this fight is close or he up a couple rounds, and he, got Crawford fighting his type of fight, man, I feel like, Crawford gonna end up kicking himself if he doesn't, change up something. So I don't know how his approach gonna be in this fight because we know he's a slow starter, Crawford is, and we know Spence is a fast starter, but he a fast starter and a fast finisher and a strong finisher, let me say. And Crawford,
he has that kind of snowball effect in his fight.
Yeah, perfectly said. Yeah, it's just kind of once he get going, it's hard to stop. You know what I'm saying? And it's
and that's the thing. Can he break his rhythm? Can he break things of what he likes to do and make things a little bit different in the first quarter of the fight? So that's
kind of like Hellbrook did to Sean Porter when he just was timing with the right hand and jab. It was simple. It was the jab. It was the 1-2 jab right hand. It kind of threw because we know Sean Porter that herky jerky. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Yeah. But another question I want to ask before we get to the prediction: do y'all think that Terence Crawford can withstand a firefight? I'm talking about rock'em sock'em. Hey, my nuts bigger than your nuts. We not going nowhere. We right in this phone booth.
Mano y mano.
Gotti Ward, Ali Frazier 1. 3, 2, whatever. Those type of fight. Fury Wilder 3.
That's a good thing. That's the great thing about boxing. We don't know. We could sit here and analyze all of this, and this could turn out to be like Donald Curry and Milt McCrory, where one guy just got clipped real early. We don't know. He's never did that.
Let me pose. Would you be inclined to lean toward him having that ability? I know we don't know, but from looking at all his fights, all the adversity he has been in throughout his career, do you think that he's shown that ability to deal with somebody that's,
he's never had
about
to.
Him? Yeah.
He's never had to. So when you go back and look at his career, he's rarely won rounds. He's been outboxed, but he's been very dominant. And so it's kind of hard. That's kind of like different fight. It's like, could anybody ever stand up to Wilder's punch? That never happened. So we never had that. We never knew it until he fought Fury. So, and even then, he still hurt Fury. We don't know that. We don't know that about Crawford. And honestly, we don't know that about Spence fighting somebody at Crawford's level. Sean is a good fighter, but he's not Bud, who's a little bit much more cerebral. So I have no idea. Do I think he'd dig? Do I think both guys could dig down and go to dark places and raise levels? I think that's the case, but I don't know if they can do that. Because here's the thing: Spencer's never fought at a super fast pace himself, like not that type. It's usually slow.
Porter was kind of
fast. To me, I don't think that fight was as close as a lot of other people think. A lot of people say it was close. I think it was 8-4. But that's just me. I thought it was close,
but yeah.
I thought it was clean.
I kind of want to talk on. I kind of want to bring up something that John is talking about with this. I mean, while Crawford hasn't really been there with anybody like that, has Spence and y'all time watching him had to get in there with somebody that's gonna make him think? You know what I'm saying? Like, has he ever gotten in there where it's just like, oh, if I do this, I'm gonna get countered,
No,
or you know what I'm saying? So that's
not
the
ever.
intriguing part about it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have to. This is gonna be the first time that I think we're gonna see Spence have to think, because if he doesn't think, he's gonna run into something. So
Yeah,
he's gonna have to show that boxing IQ.
Yeah, but he keeps saying it just like what you keep saying, DMV. He keeps talking about I gotta stay focused. He keeps talking about being defensively responsible. He talks about this. And whether he can apply it is one thing. He knows the task at hand because, like I said, an ability to thread the needle. You got to be mindful of that. And so he hasn't been like even with the butt. This is just me personally. I think people give Sean more credit in that fight because he was more competitive than people thought he was going to be. And so instead of him being probably smoked, there's no disrespect. I thought he was in great shape. He put forth great effort. But everybody, he said, oh, it was a close fight. This is no disrespect to anybody who thought that, if that's what you think. But to me, I looked at it, was like, one, he didn't dictate the terms of the fight. Errol did. He did. And then in the second half of the fight, he was backing him up. He was cleaning up. It was just like Errol got some good shots in. He fought competitively. But you can fight competitively in a fight and still lose 8-4. 8-4 is not a close fight. You know, it just isn't. So it's no disrespect to Sean. I love Sean. I think he's a fantastic dude, hard fighter, especially he's a true pro. But I've looked at that fight, man, probably 30 times, and I'm like, this fight is not close. It's clean. It's not dominant, but you have a clean victory, and clean is 8-4. That's 116 to 1. That's 116 to 114. And so even with the knockdown, yeah. So I don't think either guy has ever been in a dog fight with the guys that they're going to fight. And I think they both have weaknesses, but I wish I could answer that, but I can't say they've been in a dog fight. I don't know. And even the Porter fight, how long ago was that? What was that?
That was pre-wreck. That was pre-car wreck. Yeah, that was like 2 weeks before the car wreck. Yeah,
that's 2019.
Yeah, that's a lifetime ago if you're saying 3 years. So it's like, even if he did that against that dude, that don't mean you can do that now. He's 33 years old. That's not your physical prime.
And then plus his physical prime is even much more, diminished due to, the extracurricular activities.
A lot of the stuff that you have. Now, I will say this. Him surviving that car accident mentally could do something different to him. Meaning
good thing or a bad thing?
Good. Because he didn't get killed. He walked away from it. It's like the same thing when we hear guys talk about praise, and I ain't trying to get religious, but I'm just meaning it spiritually. You hear guys always praising God, things like that. So if a man believes things mentally and physically and spiritually, they can go places that people can't go because they believe certain things that we don't. I mean, that's just
Wilder.
All fighters. It's a lot. It's like when Holyfield was gonna fight Tyson, he kept talking about his God. And it was just like he viewed like Tyson like a dragon. And so in his mind, spiritually, he was gonna go places, that people probably thought. So walking away from that, he has to think both of them are just men. And so in his mind, he's like, man, I survived a car accident. Why would I be afraid of a dude who's flesh and blood? So that can help him mentally. That can seriously help him mentally. So we'll see whether or not. But even with it helping him mentally, we just got to see how it play out. We don't know.
The body still has a limit. The body still has a limit. So,
I mean, to a certain degree, but that's limits. Like, you've heard dudes say this before, I'm willing to die in the ring. And there are certain fighters that you see that, like Chico Corrales, was willing to do that. And there's certain fighters that can only go so far. And that's just human. Everybody is built differently. But there are some guys who are really willing to go to some dark places, and everybody don't want to go down into that water. And so we don't know that with either fighter, really. But a guy surviving a car accident,
the one he survived, yeah.
In his mind, he said this. He was like, "Man, I'm not afraid. How is somebody gonna break me?" And that didn't happen. So that can help him. We'll see if it does tomorrow.
All right, y'all. Yeah, anything else y'all want to add to? Y'all want to talk about the trainers? You think they X factors, or y'all think it's just strictly a?
I mean, we can talk about anything, man. I got time. I can't speak for everybody else, but I got time. So whatever. I love
Do
talking
you
about
okay?
it.
Well, since let's talk about it. We seen kind of Derrick James get out of character. You know, I've never up until this point, I've never seen him utter a cuss word, and that's just being truthful. I never seen him, talk trash about nobody. But obviously, I feel like he got more animosity towards Team Crawford than Spence does. Do you think that I think he's the superior trainer? If we being honest, hey, got love for Brian McIntyre, but we all be up here lying and we thinking this is an even match, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I just think that Derrick James is a phenomenal trainer.
He
I
is.
think, and I'm not saying Bomac isn't. I just don't have
Not on
enough
that
data.
level.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
To support
how you
that.
come to that conclusion? They both have trained world champions. I mean, what
But
is?
I just feel like the improvements he did with Jamil. You know what I'm saying? I feel like what he's gonna do with Joshua. I think that he's gonna elevate him. Not to say he's gonna become a champion. And I know Mo Hooker was with Bo Mack and Jamil Herring, but look how both guys performed in some of their biggest fights. You know what I'm saying? They fell flat on their face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you got to give Bo Mack his props. He took Crawford, a guy that nobody knew, nobody wanted to sign. The way he came on and claimed, he took on a killer at 135. I think he had 2 weeks notice, smoked him, became
Yeah.
universal, a lot of people's eyes, the number one fighter in the world. Been undisputed at 140, moving up to 147 for undisputation. You got to get. I think both guys are great trainers. I don't think particular.
I give Bo Mack his credit. I ain't gonna say he's a great trainer, but that's just my opinion. Like I said, probably more knowledge, of course, than I have. But I'm just from looking at Derrick James, I feel like if anybody can guide a fighter, not to say that.
All right,
This
hold on. Let
situation,
me question. You said somebody else that Bo Mack had. Who was the other fighters you mentioned?
Maurice Hooker,
Okay,
and
so
then Jamel Herring. I know
yeah,
they
but
both was champions.
neither one of those guys got the pedigree of Charlo. Charlo is a great fighter within himself, and so
No, but I was just giving him credit for leading those guys. I think he led Jamel Herring to the title. I don't know, or did
yeah, I don't
Jamel?
remember. I don't remember that he
But
did.
I
But
know he
those
led
guys have less
Hooker.
pedigree than a Charlo. Like so,
Well, yeah. Even though
it's like
Herring and
being a
Spence is on the
jockey.
same team.
If you're on a thoroughbred, that's one thing. You jockeying
Yeah.
a donkey, that's another.
Yeah.
No, and I'm not saying that either one of those guys are donkeys, but I'm just
But
saying the pedigree is a little bit different to me.
yeah, that's why I kind of tip it. That's why I feel like Derrick was able to kind of fuse Ronnie Shields' style with his style and make Jamil, better than what not better than what he is, but a much better fighter, which has elevated him to undisputed, has a chance to become a 2 division, undisputed champion. But do y'all think that these trainers gonna play, their advice, their game plan is gonna play a factor in this if it gets to the nitty gritty, like championship rounds, or you just think once it gets to that point, there's not much that can be said in terms of X's and O's. It's just kind of wheel of attrition at that point, or do you just, what I'm saying? Do you think they would play a factor in this fight outside of the first few rounds?
Yeah, they can. I mean, we've seen it sometimes if it's a communication thing. So I'll jump on the thing that you mentioned with Charlo. Sometimes and I'm quite certain Mouse will know this. He's a boxer. Sometimes certain trainers have a certain voice that a fighter listen to, and some trainers can't get that. So if it's a sense of being in sync. So hypothetically, we've seen fighters get hurt before, like guys who've never been badly hurt. We've seen sometimes how the corner panics. So sometimes the fighter will feed off of that. If you're panicking, he becomes more panicky. So I think both trainers, I don't think they have the overall outcome, but on this level, all the little details matter. So things that they say and will they charge is listen to them. So I go back. I'm just going to mention this because we talked about it. Go back and look at the Ryan and the Tank fight. I'm not going to say that the fight itself will change, but Ryan has a really good first round. His trainer says to him, continue to do that, and Ryan doesn't. So clearly Ryan is not listening to him for whatever his reasons. Maybe it's his youth and experience. So if there are times that say, let's just say Crawford gets hurt or buzzed, and Bo Mack is able to calm him down and refocus, can Derrick James make sure that Spence stays defensively responsible? Will he listen to him in key moments? And the trainers always know what's going on. if their fighter's behind, how to push them, what to do. And so I think it can. I don't know if it's going to have the overall factor, but I do believe they will be important factors.
What you think,
No,
JG? Mouse, go ahead.
Okay, my bad.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I agree with John. I think that I do agree with you, Big Cool, as well too. I do think that Derek James, to me, has an edge, but I am agreeing with John that I do feel that at this level, both trainers, because it's exactly what he said. There's fighters who listen to their trainers, the way they talk to them and everything. That's exactly how it goes down every single time. And the fighters that usually come out on top is the one that's being guided and listening to everything. And I know the trainers don't fight. A lot of people like to say, well, the trainer's not the one that's in the ring. It's still on the fighter to go out there and execute. And it is. But if you see the guys that are on that elite level, that championship level, those guys, the connection and the brotherhood that they have with their co-trainer, whatever you want to call them, is unmatched. I mean, you can go down the history of fighters, from this era all the way down to the 50s, 40s, whatever. You look at every top guy and Lennox Lewis, Emmanuel Stewart, Mike Tyson, Cus D'Amato, you know what I mean? I mean, these guys were guys that built that relationship with their trainers. So I do think that it's gonna play a big part how the game plan is made and who makes the adjustments faster. Because I do feel like this is gonna be a chess match. Each trainer is gonna have to continuously keep adjusting to what the other guy is doing. Each round is probably gonna be different than the round before.
I agree.
I do think Derek James got an edge right now, but I don't think it's by much. I'm not gonna downplay Bomac and what he's done with Crawford. Because what they've done with Crawford and him moving up and still being at that level, you have to be a great trainer to do that. You know what I mean? And a great trainer isn't always how many fighters produce champion. If you look at some of these top guys, a Trinidad, his fucking dad was his trainer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You think that his dad was more knowledgeable than maybe an Emmanuel Stewart or something like that? Absolutely not. But he obviously knew what to tell Trinidad.
It was great for his son. Yeah,
exactly.
He was great for his son.
Exactly.
I'm 100% in agreement with John and what he's saying. I think that's the pivotal point. I think that's what's gonna make the difference in the fight on who has that connection with their fighter and who's executing what their coach is telling them.
All right. Well, I feel like everything has been said. We all know both guys have their fair share of flaws. They have their fair share of pros as well. I think that both guys look good at the weigh-in. Like DMV said, Crawford looked extremely ripped. Looked like, you know what I'm saying?
He did.
Came up out of a lab, you know what I'm saying? Neither one of them got no haircut. They both got a lineup though. And, they had the black Air Forces on. So that's what they saying. They mean violence. I don't know. But it's time to get a prediction, man. John Herndon. Go ahead and you can add whatever else you want to if you feel like you didn't get everything out in the breakdown. And just give us
I'm on the fence with this one.
Oh man, we gotta
I'm
have
serious. I'm real on the. This is a hard fight for me to clearly pick. It's like I'm super on the fence. I hate being it this way. But since you asking, I'm gonna go with this one. If anybody out there listening, don't hit me up on no Twitter saying whatever. Predictions are not exact science. I was wrong last week because I didn't wait for the rehydration. I believe the fight is gonna play out like I've seen both guys before. I think Spence will start off leading boxing. I think there are gonna be some moments where Crawford is gonna hurt him, but I think Spence's boxing ability. I think he's gonna survive a scare. Maybe even be knocked down on the canvas. I think if it goes 12 rounds, I think Errol will win a decision in a competitive fight. Okay. But I'm not super. I'm not like, oh, that's exactly what we're going to have. Because I'm not. There's just so many variables, man. So that's the case with that. If it's a stoppage, I think that's going to be Crawford. If there's a stoppage.
Wow. All right. So you said Spence by decision. Is it split? Is it majority? Unanimous? What? I mean,
Judges, man. He just wins the decision. I can't say
nah.
split or unanimous. It's hard to say. Judges. Everybody see fights differently. I think he can win a decision. You know,
Okay.
I can't predict if it's split or not, but it'll be a decision. He's gonna survive a scare though.
All right, Mouse. Anything you want to add on to
You already know this is
prediction?
man down territory.
Oh,
Errol
okay.
Spence live in effect. Man down. This is the Lions Den, baby.
Oh, he letting us mad about it. All right, I'm
You know.
Texas boys are rough.
So no, but I'm on the same boat as John. I do believe this is a 50-50 fight. I won't be surprised if Bud does take it. However, I do think it's going to come down to fundamentals, and I do believe that Spence's boxing ability is going to get him the decision. I don't see either one of the guys getting knocked out. But if Crawford is to win, I do believe that is the way that John said it. It has to be by knockout. I just don't see him winning the decision, even if it's close, and especially even if it's close. You don't want it to be close because if it's close, 98% of the time, my prediction, of course, I think Spence is going to take it if the fight is close.
I
So what's your so I mean, so you think it's just
I'm taking Spence UD. No, I'm taking Spence unanimous decision.
All right.
I think there'll be moments in the fight, like John said, where Crawford is probably going to hurt Spence, or there might be a couple moments where Crawford might shine and look like he's coming on, but I think at the end of it, we're looking maybe like 8-4-ish. I got about 8,
116, 114.
maybe. Yeah. I get about 116, 114 for Spence.
Man, that sounds like not a exciting fight, but okay. I can dig it. I can dig
What,
it.
116, 114? That's it. I mean,
if it's 8-4, that's 116, 112.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's
but I mean, yeah, within that realm, it could be 116.
But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying because it can still be.
That's just a 2-round. That's just a 2-round shift.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be close. It can be a close. It is close decisions that can be, unanimous decision that be. But if it's like that, then they swear it's gonna be something other than what it is. JG, you ready to give your prediction, man? You ready to give your prediction? I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Why don't you log off and log back on?
I know why you want to go last, man. Cool.
I already know who he on. I already know. He probably gonna talk for. He talked a lot. He probably gonna talk for 35 minutes. I mean, he like my cousin. My cousin, man, he is the same way. He a formal boxer. I can't talk to that dude about this fight.
No, man.
I'm like, dude, I'm just breaking the fight down. Anytime I bring up anything, it's like, well, I'm like, oh, I talk too much about Spence because he's fun.
All right, can y'all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think Spence is going to be up 4-2 and seemingly rolling in the fight where it seems like he's going to be rolling like he normally does. And I think in a moment of non-focus, Crawford's going to catch him walking in. And I think that Spence does this one thing where he jabs and kind of leans over. And we know that Spence's favorite punch or his best punch is that straight left / like overhand left when he gets you in his range. I think Spence is going to get comfortable. In a moment of non-focus, Crawford is going to throw a shot right up under it and catch him right on the chin. And I think Crawford's going to stop him in round 7. I think it's going to be a TKO. I don't know like why I've been seeing this, but it's just something that happens in every Spence fight. But Crawford, I've always said this. I feel like he's kind of double jointed in a sense where he can deliver punches at different angles that other people can't, and you can't see it coming. And I can see it being somewhat where it's like a flash knockdown. But when he has you in the sights, like you guys were talking about with stopping, he can get you up out of there. And I can see that happening where it's a stoppage. But I think that
but I think that he's gonna be Spence is gonna look like Spence is rolling, and he's just gonna get hit with something he just don't see coming. So
Well, that was the thing I kept saying. I was like, he got to be very defensively minded, and you're right. He has a tendency of throwing that right, and then when he throws that left, it's very dropped. It's very dropped. But if he steps back, and I don't know if it's going to be uppercut, he could catch him with
left hook. Yep.
Hey, JG, I got two things I want to say to you. I'm taking off this shirt, man. And two, how many drinks you had at the MGM, huh?
No, man. Hey, first of all, I think it's gonna be a great fight. I think it's gonna be a competitive fight. I think Spence gonna start off fast, probably win the first 2-3 rounds. But I think that Crawford is gonna get settled in, and like JG said, he's gonna find a way to, successfully counter Spence and take advantages of the mental lapses, dropping of the hands, head on the center, center line, no head movement, pause, from Spence. But I think Spence is going to surprise Crawford by making him fight more than he wants to. I know Crawford a killer and he say this and say that, but let's be real. If we can make a physical sport or physical job easier, that's the mindset we want to do. No fighter want to go in there and rock him, sock him. It's very few. But I think that Spence is going to be able to cut off the ring, more than people expect. Have some success early to the body. Probably he might drop, Crawford, at least hurt him. I feel like he's going to hurt Crawford at some point in this fight. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that has happened to Spence outside of the ring to go along with some of the bad habits inside of the ring is going to be his downfall. The inactivity, even though the wreck was like almost 4 years ago, we all know stuff doesn't happen. Sometimes it happens instantly, but you have a residual effect that as you get older, like John said, you're in your 30s now. It's not just a regular 30-year-old, 33-year-old Spence we're talking about. This is a guy that's probably feel like he's 50. Let's be real. He probably feel like he's 50 due to the car wreck, due to the detached retina, excessive drinking.
I don't know about that. I mean, if he felt that way, we'll go shit.
I mean, I'm probably over exaggerating, but I don't think he feel like. I feel like he might feel more like not a fresh 33, even though he probably would never admit it. You know what I'm saying? Just because I think he's a powerful guy. I think that Crawford is gonna get it going round 5, 6, start to pepper him, and then round 8 and 9, Spence is gonna be just not the same. He's gonna be not fatigued, but he's gonna not physically fatigued, but he's gonna be more so mentally fatigued because he's never fought a guy that's just as relentless or unrelentless as he is. And I think that once Crawford get him hurt around 8 and 9, he going to finish him around 10. I feel like he going to catch you with an uppercut. You know what I'm saying? Spence is going to be, like I said, mentally tired more than physical. And he going to catch him with something that Spence won't be able to rise up to. You know what I'm saying? And 2-division undisputed champion Terence Bud Crawford.
As well.
Hey, quick question, Big Cool. I got my bad, John.
No. You go ahead, Mouse. You
quick
was
question, Big Cool. When did Spence ever start a fight fast? Because Spence tends to get stronger towards the middle round.
The fight with Porter was fast. He didn't start fast against Brook, but I feel like he got a point to prove in this fight, and I feel like he feels he has a point to prove, and I think he's a faster starter than Crawford. If we're gonna compare the two, he's definitely a faster starter than Crawford. And I feel like he knows why he has to be disciplined. He has to apply that pressure to Crawford to get the respect. Just because people think that, Crawford is a smaller guy, which he is, he's going to be trying to fight to get the respect of Spence, which he may as well try to. I feel like Spence knows he needs to let Crawford know early and often that this is the big dog. I'm the big fish, the big whale, whatever he calls himself. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's going to come to Crawford, who he knows is a slower starter than him. He also, in his mind, he also knows that he's the favorite. Well, he's not the favorite from fans' point, but we all know if he get up rolling, you know what I'm saying? Like you just said he's not going to win the decision, Crawford.
I do think he's rolling, but he's not the favorite.
No, he the favorite.
He talking about in terms of fans, not the actual
Politics,
fight and, like,
politics. Why he's the favorite?
I get what you're
Politics.
saying.
Why that's what I'm saying.
I mean, Vegas
yeah.
don't have him the favorite.
Well, I'm talking about. I know. Yeah, I'm talking
talking
about Crawford
like,
is the favorite.
yeah, like,
but the judges, we all know this is PBC. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it political like that, but we all know.
You can bring in the political because that does.
Yeah. So we all know that it's gonna, like you said, people felt Porter. You felt the fight was a clean, win for,
But that
had. I'm not pro.
No. Yeah, you're not pro anything. But what I'm saying is how people thought Porter was competitive in your opinion than you did.
He was competitive.
That's how I feel like Spence might be. The rounds might be so close that they just feel like, all right, Spence got it, because he might land one shot that does more. That doesn't do as much damage.
But that's just the
boxing.
Psychology of boxing.
That's just the sport of boxing.
That ain't got anything to do with. Yeah, because if you're in somebody's hometown, we've seen this. Punches will be picked off by the gloves. Crowd is going crazy. Subconsciously, judges will do that. They do it with the A side. I don't know if he's that big of an A side, though. I don't know if he's that significantly bigger. And this isn't a 1-up fight. This is a 2-up fight. So but this history on them. I agree with that because I agree with you. Like I said, cut me off. Go.
No. I just feel like judges. I don't want to say the judges going whatever either way.
Bro, you
I
can
just
say
feel
it,
like
man. Most of them are incompetent. I don't have a problem.
Exactly.
With that. We've seen
exactly, and I feel like.
But there's one thing I will say from a judge perspective. Mm-hmm. People assume that they're looking at a monitor, and they're not. They're ringside. So that's because we have no idea what angles they're seeing these fights from. I'm not saying that means that these dudes are corrupt, but sometimes you just don't know what angles you're seeing fights from for those people to see. So it's hard for me to figure out what they're looking at. And also it's hard to figure out if they're judging by patterns. It's like last week with the Fulton fight. My cousin was like, well, he won the 5th and 6th round. I was like, nah, he did better, but I don't think he won. And sometimes in the mental mind, if a guy's not doing as well and then suddenly he does do well, people will give a round. And it's like, yeah, he did well, but that don't mean he won the round. He just did better. But in your mind, you would believe so. So I get what you're saying. The judges are incompetent.
I just feel like
I don't have a problem saying that. But here's the thing that we have not talked about. Mm-hmm. Lately, we have seen fights stopped kind of premature.
Yeah.
I feel like that has a lot to do with the deaths and the stuff that's been going
I'm not
on.
denying any of that. But sometimes they allow guys to fight through. And it depends with that too. You'll have a dude hurt.
Who's the ref for this fight?
Harvey Dock.
Okay.
He's a good ref.
And I think that makes a big difference too, because some refs are more prone to want to stop early. Some refs will let the fight go through. But kind of going back to what Big Kool said, I think that the politicking. It's a big factor. Whether or not PBC is going to allow one of their main guys let a free agent just come in if it's close and be, But I'm not scared to say that. I'm not saying Big Kool is either.
I'm not saying I wasn't scared to say it. I just didn't want to put that. I wasn't scared to say it. I just didn't want to put that narrative out like as an excuse or what I'm saying.
That's the truth, though.
But that's the reality. You know what I mean? Like boxing. Yeah, that does. Boxing. Well, you know me, Big Kool, long enough. I fought. Yeah. I was also a coach. I have fighters. I went out to the fight. That's boxing. Boxing ain't never going to change. You're going to have the dirty side of boxing involved in every fight, Now, judges, I agree with John said. They're looking at it from the side of the ring, and every judge is going to look at it different. Some people care more about power shots. Other people care more about how you connect. So you judge it completely different. Now, I do feel like somebody like what was it, CJ Ross, that lady that was for the Canelo fight? That was like fucking 118. Like, it was a big margin, and it was way closer to that. Like, that's a corrupt judge. But it is going to be interesting to see how this PBC thing plays out, because and this is why I feel like if it's a close fight, like I just don't see them guys in PBC just give it to Crawford. Like I'm just trying. This was my second question. All right. When has Crawford applied that type of pressure, that type of crazy amount of pressure on any fighter where you feel like that pressure is going to be applied now? Like, we
I ain't
know
say that.
Crawford is a. You said that you felt like he was
I
going
think he
to.
might start fight faster. No, I said Spence start faster than Crawford. I think I said that.
Yeah, but you said later in the rounds that Crawford was going to be that more aggressive and put pressure on
Yeah,
Spence.
because I feel like as the fight go on, he's gonna get settled in, and his countering gonna take off, his switch hitting, and he's gonna be peppering shots, and Spence will be more mentally fatigued than physically fatigued because he can't. He like, damn, I can't keep up with the foot speed. I can't get my head out the way with a left hook, the uppercut. That's when I feel like Crawford gonna pour it on. Crawford got the killer instinct. We didn't see him once he gets you hurt. You know what I'm saying? Kell Brook, Amir Khan, Vic. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't too
about to say
Amir Khan.
Those dudes are faded compared to the dudes.
Yeah, I wouldn't too.
But I'm just saying them is in terms of if he gets you hurt, he's gonna go for it, not the compare the level.
So let me. So since you brought up Amir Khan and Kell Brook, so when he fought Jose Benavidez, yeah, I mean, like Jose Benavidez was on one leg, and it took how long to take this guy out? I mean, Benavidez looked pretty game. That
he was.
Yeah, I mean, like he was tagging up Crawford.
He was also undefeated though, and he had never tasted defeat. So when you got that 0, you gonna fight a little bit extra hard on one leg or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't like Crawford anyway. He didn't like Crawford, so he wasn't trying to get knocked out by him.
I don't think he was trying to.
But there's levels of fighters.
Yeah, but I'm saying he was trying even more. And Benavidez actually was a good fighter, though. I mean, the gunshot, drastically changed the trajectory of his career. Let's be real. But I mean, it wasn't like he was just some Jeff Horn just got a big victory over some dudes. Actually hyped more than his big brother was. You know what I'm saying? Coming out of the amateur. I mean, his little brother coming out of the amateur. So let's not,
I don't think Mouse is downplaying that.
I'm not saying he's downplaying. I'm just saying, like, we got to keep in mind that, Jose Benavidez actually was a guy that before the, getting shot.
But that's my point. Then we got to keep in mind that Amir Khan was the same Amir Khan that was at 140, destroying the whole 140. This wasn't the same Amir Khan. This was after he got knocked out by Canelo. Got knocked out by damn near the whole 147, 154.
I mean, he got knocked out at 135 too.
You know what I mean?
But okay, to y'all point, then this is not the same Errol Spence. This is not the same Errol Spence. And what I'm saying is if he get him hurt,
not the same Errol Spence is what, like the Errol Spence that fought Kell Brook.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not.
Okay, hold on. I got one comparison though. That there is one similarity. He broke Kell Brook's orbital bone and he broke Ugas's orbital bone. So what about if he breaks Crawford's orbital bone in the 4th round?
Then Crawford is done.
Crawford
is done.
Hey, I'm just asking. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no. But my point is just saying, like, to Mouse's question is, I'm not saying that he about to jump on him as soon as the bell ring. He gonna be on him like white on rice. I'm just saying, once the fight goes on, and if he gets his opponent hurt, because we've seen it. If Crawford gets you hurt, whether you're fresh, whether you're past your prime, he's gonna jump on you. That's the only thing I brought that up for. But I don't expect him to try to jump on.
No. That's why I was asking on what you meant by aggressive, because I do know when Crawford hurt you, he a killer. That's it's a light go on. Yeah, as soon as he hurt you, he on.
That round 10 against Porter. He was like a buzzsaw. Honestly, I had never even knowing that he's a killer when he gets you hurt, I had never seen him turn it on like he did that 10th round. He threw about 100. I don't know how many punches he threw, but I was just like, damn, you wouldn't have thought that he went through 9 rounds before that. The way he came out after Bomac told him he was down. You know what I'm saying? And I think that y'all talked about trainers and being able to having that relationship with your fighter. And Bomac is able to tell him certain things, and he's able to turn it on. Same with Derrick James, because Derrick James, like, it's not anything that like. Sometimes Bomac will say technical things to Terence, but Derrick James doesn't have to say the technical things to EJ in order to motivate him because he knows how to do it. So both guys are more similar than they are apart, actually, which is funny. So it's just interesting to see that these two are gonna clash. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see which alpha is gonna come out on top.
For sure. Hey, next time we do a video, Big Kool got to change his name to Big Spence Jr.
Hey, shit, I ain't agree to that. Yeah, you're gonna be mighty. You're gonna be Mighty Mouse Crawford. Then, shit.
But yeah, Mouse. Similar to you asked me how many drinks I had. What happens when you have drinks in your system? Your reaction time gets slower, right?
For sure.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's what I
sound like Spence.
I feel like Spence's reaction time after the accident, like if this was pre-accident, I would have had Spence all over Crawford. I feel like his reaction time and getting away from the punch is the thing that I worry about. And it happened in the Danny fight and in the Ugas fight. So
That's true.
you know what I'm saying? If there's some things you could do to kind of, up his reaction time, I don't know if you could do that, but we'll see.
I mean, he could tighten his defense up more. I think his defensive reflexes have faded, but I think the same thing about Crawford. Like the guy who got hit by Mean Machine and all that is not the guy that he was before.
Yeah,
I do think they both have.
Do you think they've kind of faded? I kind of feel like Crawford has always he's always had that. You know what I'm saying? Where he's kind of
leaky
a little bit. He's kind of like he always got hit. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, go back about 4-5 years ago.
Nah, he didn't get touched by Postal, bro. He didn't get touched by Postal at all.
Dude, that was about the only one.
It's not a detriment. That's just the age thing. It happens.
Yeah.
It's just something that happens with fighters. But everybody who really tune in, you'll see slight declines. It's like when I was watching Roy, and this once again, I think it was against Clinton Woods. I was telling my brother, I said, he's declined. He was like, no, yeah. I said, nah, he's getting hit with punches he normally doesn't get hit. But that doesn't mean just because you decline, don't mean you can't still fight at a high level. You still can. But there's a reason, why they're looking towards guys that are their contemporaries as opposed to fighting somebody that's younger. Now, a younger guy doesn't necessarily mean he's more experienced, but quicker, faster. It's just a lot of reaction stuff. So both of them have those lapses. I do agree with you. I think Spence has more, and I think there are more holes. But as a world level fighter, and Mouse will know as a trainer, sometimes that training camp, you're working on, all right, we're going to keep that left a little bit more up. We're going to tighten up a little bit more because of who we're going against. We got to be a little bit more mindful. So we'll see whether or not that actually works. I don't think he can change anything with his defensive reflexes, but I think he can change the trajectory of that left hook and kind of bring it up. Because I'm like you. That's why I'm on the fence. I can make the case that he could get caught. I was basically gonna say I don't have no prediction because I can see there's a moment within the exchange. There are times when he throws punches, he doesn't be defensively, back. But I see the same thing with Crawford as well. There are moments you just seen it more so. But go back, Bud has been hurt before. A lot of people just don't talk about it, but I'm like, he's been stunned before. So I don't necessarily think fighters have weaknesses, but I do think all fighters have patterns. And if you can capitalize on that.
Hey, I gotta wrap it up. Gotta put my little man to sleep. But it's been a pleasure, man, chopping it up. This is gonna be the first of many. When me and JG right, or DMV, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Mouse. I holler at you, John H. I holler at y'all, but seriously, I just hope for a great fight. Both guys, exit the fight relatively healthy. We already know once you take headshots, you'll never be the same. But I just hope that fight fans get treated to a great fight. Both guys deliver, and we have a conclusive winner. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna get the rematch anyway. No controversy, judges. No controversy, judges. Again, we don't have a dog in a race. You know what I'm saying? We just glad the fight is here.
You ain't got no dog in this race?
No, I'm not a fan. When I say that, I'm not a fanboy. Like, I'm not a fanboy of either one. I just picked Crawford to win, but I'm not like. Now I'm gonna talk some trash. I'm gonna talk some trash to the Spence fans because they just swore up and down that Crawford wasn't nothing. But other than that, I don't have a dog in a race. Other than just my unbiased prediction.
Spence is my favorite fighter, yo. Spence is my favorite fighter. That's
it. I'm taking off the shirt.
No, he is, bro.
He said, but I'm about to wrap it up. But look, man, we can reconvene. Bud 10th round stoppage from my prediction. I think JG, what you say yours was?
I said Crawford's TKO 7.
Ooh, that's disrespectful.
See, that is disrespectful.
No, I'm saying when you hear mine, and compare like the build up, it's like JG just said it's gonna be anticlimactic, man. Like
I didn't say it
two-man
wasn't gonna be a good fight.
Nah, I think he's gonna be exciting, and then he's just basically gonna get clipped.
I hope it's like that. I hope it's not one of them one-sided beats, and then Crawford just put him out of his misery. I hope it's one of them.
It could be a one-sided beat on the other side, though, dog.
Man down, Lions den.
I know, Spence gonna be down. We're gonna put the pillow on the line. Well, we already
the dude that has dudes down. He's the guy.
The line has already been tamed by Sweet Hands. With that smack with the left hook. You know what I'm saying? So
if it's a one-sided beatdown, that's just as exciting as a knockout because this is gonna show you the level of the fighter and where they're at. You know what I mean? Every fight,
last week.
Hey man,
that's that Philly for you, Mouse. That's that Philly. What they say, let them down, Philly.
Hey man,
damn.
Look, everybody. Remember when Rigondeaux used to beat the crap out of people and people thought it was the most boring thing in the world because he was just that good. And then finally, when he lost, all the disrespect came. You know what I mean? So sometimes you need those beatings. Sometimes you need to elevate your game because
cut that thing off, Steven.
Whether it's Crawford or Spence, whether Crawford does it or Spence does it. Remember, this is going to be the first time we get an undisputed welterweight champ ever.
In the four.
Yeah, I mean, so how much better would it be if you dominated the fight and you become the first time ever to do it? Yeah, I mean, we went the knockout, but I mean, in terms of boxing, for me, like history, man, that would just elevate it for me.
I got it.
Feel you. Well, hey, DMV, make sure you bring some shark bites. Alabama, Florida. You can drop them off personally to JH. You know what I'm saying? Some shark bites and some hush puppies
some tissues too.
Hush puppies.
Take some tissues too.
Whatever.
Hey, just get that program for me, man, if you can. That's all.
All right, man. Hey, JG,
enjoy the fight, man.
Be safe out there.
Hold on. One last thing. I'm not gonna try. Are we gonna do something after the fight?
I'll be over my boy's house watching the fight. So if one of y'all want to jump on, I might, we can chop it up. But I won't have no laptop with me. I'll be over, like I said, my boy's house.
I mean, it could be the next day. I was just asking. I don't know if
the next day.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, we can figure something out. We can make something work, man. Just But yeah, man. Y'all be safe, JG. Keep your head on the swivel out there in Vegas. Everybody have a great evening.
Enjoy the
Mouse.
fight.
Hey, Mighty Mouse Crawford coming soon. CBT, baby. I'm out. We out this mug. Peace.
Peace.